hear us. Okay, so, I don't know, I'm getting a weird message here, but it seems to be fine. Okay. So, actually, I'm going to really quickly share my screen so that I can show you the area we're talking about as soon as I figure out where it went. So we have this billing location here as being a field that we needed in the new section, but Arwen had said that there is a place on the building equipment form. Do you remember what it was called? Like it's the served by location.
The location served or something like that.
Location served.
Fred, what's his name?
Frank showed it to you. Frank?
Yeah, whatever his name was.
Frank. So we talked about it, and we can get rid of, if the log records already use that location served to split the log records, then we actually don't need this here at the allocation. We need to move this into that serves area, the served by area, whatever that is. So do you know what it was? Oh, we can probably close the door. What it was that he had showed us?
Who's he?
Frank. So I'm gonna make. Okay. So we.
You said on the building equipment?
Yeah. So I'm gonna switch over back to you as a presenter, so maybe you can take a look on the form. Do you remember sort of where he wandered around on the form?
Maybe.
So let's see if we can find what they were looking at, because then we can get rid of one field, and that actually will simplify some future stuff for us.
Was it on the details tab?
I'm not sure. I know it wasn't on here. Yeah, it's probably on details or, let's see. Details, capacity, environmental contract. Maintenance history. I'm not sure where he found it.
And when was this?
During the admin session last week.
Oh, I mean, I didn't see him pull up Charrig at all.
No, it
was me and him just at the head of the table. He was showing it to me on his computer.
Oh, he might have something custom done from another client.
I really doubt it.
Yeah, he was actually.
Can we look at the details tab?
But if you're saying that the location, this whatever is splitting our log records, what is it that's splitting these log records? Where does that reside?
Sorry, I was on mute. It's two separate log records.
Right, but you said that when the integration brings in a record, that it would attach to the meter site and go, oh, I see that you're for two buildings, 60% this building, 40% that building, and generate two log records. Somewhere that 60-40 sits.
What was the allocation section that we added? Well, we added an allocation section.
That's for billing.
Yeah, but the log is getting split. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it has to be an allocation of this is supplying this building 60-40 versus.
Right. So right now the meter site allocation is saying, okay, for this building, this account is going to take 5%. For this building, this account will take 7%. And so it's a combination of the building served plus the billing information. So if there's already an out-of-the-box area that splits the true allocation of the meter site, regardless of billing, then I think it's better we use that out-of-the-box functionality to generate these logs and only use the billing allocation section when the final step for billing.
Can you see my screen with this other environment?
Yeah.
Yeah. That should come a while.
I don't remember where he went, but.
You know, while he's looking, I'll be right back. I'm going to see, I put the thing on Chad's calendar for 9 to come in and finish up that area. But he might also, I mean, that's a huge concern for O&M too.
Right.
Here's a fan. Here's where it's located, but the important is where it's served.
Right.
And so he might actually know that information. I brought the book around.
What was Jen saying?
Nothing. It's something that I saw back the very first time when that, I think, John guy came and showed us a bunch of stuff in Tririga, and then Frank showed it to me again last week. And it was like, yes, this is exactly what we need, and it was right there out of the box.
So, let me see if I can send him this. Great. That's the one, right?
Well, wouldn't be that primary location of that.
No, the primary location would be where the equipment is actually located.
Yeah.
There was a location served, or service location, or something. like that.
So was this about the, this is, so this was showing you that equipment was usage was being split between two locations or two buildings?
Well, not usage, it was just, there was somewhere on the equipment record that said this equipment serves, you know.
It's a served by location.
It's served by location where you choose, you know, a location and then put in a percentage. So you can choose as many locations as it serves and put the percentage next, you know. No, it was the location served.
Oh, served by, or location served by location.
Not served by the location
Served,
serving.
serving.
And what, he was representing it as out of the box?
I believe so.
Under the system. With that, no. Your service allocation, service location.
There, service location, yes. You were just there.
I know.
Was it?
There.
Okay, hold on.
Ah.
All right, I've sent him.
Is this a lookup?
Allocation percent. Don't know. Or did you hit, where are we? Meter service allocation. So if we pick one at a percent,
Yeah,
and then can you just keep adding?
yes, that's what he showed me,
Cool.
so.
Where the heck did you find that, being that I was sending an email to you, Chad?
Building equipment. I don't remember the second tab, and there was like a sub-tab within that.
Haley, I'm not gonna make it to our status meeting.
I'm gonna shoot all the.
Query is coming up into either building, structure, land, or retail location.
Which is perfect.
Yep, we need building, structure, land. At retail is turned off, so we don't care. Those are the ones that we need.
Yeah, well, you won't even have any that are categorized as retail. It's bringing it up only because.
There's stuff in the system. Yeah, I understand. So,
Or.
Looking for the different one.
Yep.
Yeah, it's probably based on the building business object, which has building, retail location, structure. But I guess it brings in land too.
plan. Wonderful. And I'm sorry, I was sending an email to ask Chad to call in so he could tell us the O&M design stuff. Where was the path to that?
The path to this, for the building equipment?
The billing location, yeah, that, whatever it was called.
In the PM schedules.
Okay, so it was under building equipment form, maintenance tab, buildings, meter served allocation. Huh. Meter served.
I wonder why, I mean, it would let you assign this, like what I had open earlier over here was a boiler.
It might just not hide the pages, no idea.
It might not.
And then I'm sorry, when you opened it up, it's in the general sub-tab. All right, so what we're going to need to do, so we're going to have this be billing allocation %, right? We can still call it well, I'll talk to you in a second about that.
You'll have to be able to see the maintenance tab.
Yep. That would probably be good.
I don't know if there's any logic behind here or anything, but.
Well, I mean, logically, this actually is a more elegant solution than trying to bundle up the building it serves and its billing allocation. Because this way, what will happen is if you just use that, this service allocation location and percentage to split your log records, then you have a clean log record for usage. And then when you finally go to bill, and not everything bills, but the ones that do bill, then all you have to do is link just to the billing allocation for billing. This will actually, I know we haven't gotten to the calculation part yet, but to me it seems like this would greatly simplify our life.
Yeah, I think this is
very elegant solution. And it says meter service allocation, so it sounds like it might be tied, but what I have here is I have a note that just says, for this, hold on a second, insert row below.
It's definitely not checking on, it lets me save and everything at 80%, so it doesn't, check to make sure it's 100 or anything.
So we'll probably have to put in some logic for that, insert below, or some report validation. Does it always
equal 100?
Yes.
Yeah?
It has to.
No, seriously, I can't conceive of a situation where a service would,
So logically, we will have to add that, because you do not want to make that mistake, because if you accidentally have 102% and it doesn't tell you, but we just want to make sure that it won't let you save the record until it's not, that it's 100%. So let me pull out our location. So now Control X. This is very nice. I like this a lot. So this is meter site. What do we call it? What is this called? This is service allocation, right? Service allocation. What's so clean?
nothing.
Aw. I'm gonna share fine. We don't need that anymore. So we don't. this is service location and service location percent, right? What do we call this up here? Billing allocation percent?
And these are only gonna be set up for the site.
It's service allocation.
For the meter site. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is that, when you're saying site, you mean meter site?
Yes.
Okay. And that's, okay, hold on, sub-tab, and general section, takes a lot of,
And then, the service.
hold on just a second. So, when you added one of these, what do we call, so service location, right? Service location and service allocation percentage. Service allocation. I don't know why we can't just use that same verbiage over here. New field up. We'll have to figure out how to pull it all out of your stuff though and map it correctly, but it's all good. Okay. So,
Yeah, let me reply to Frank real quick.
oh, yep, not a problem. You know, honestly, my question would be to you guys, I don't think we need them to validate that it's the area that it's used to split. If it isn't, it needs to be.
Hmm?
So, right now,
Right.
He can check,
But
you
we
know,
can
but if it
discuss the
doesn't,
requirement.
yeah. Oh, I'm in catalog. Oh. Needs to be used to split the log record. Checking on this to see if it is of box functionality. Okay. So we're not waiting on anything, we're waiting for completed, and this we're waiting on a form.
That's the message I was getting too. Do you see it?
Yeah, I clicked OK, and it then sort of just lets me go through.
Yeah, I clicked OK on it about 3 or 4 times this morning.
So someone stopped by this morning and said that there is some sort of huge Windows update, that a lot of people are having a lot of problems with their laptops, so they recommended that I do the update on my laptop, but not while I'm in here, because apparently it takes a couple hours to run.
Oh, yeah.
But that are running into a whole bunch of weird stuff happening on their computers right now. So, woohoo. So I'm guessing it might have something to do with that. So, did you want me to just show you what I've done?
On what?
On the mapping document?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So we can show you this and then we can move on. So what I did is I took the billing location. So this is really the meter site service/usage location. You said usually at a building level, but it's at anything. So what I did is I took this row out of our meter site allocation new section area and dropped it down here. And so what we now have is a service location and a service allocation percentage mapping to the building equipment maintenance, building equipment form, maintenance tab, meter service allocation sub-tab general section. and then there's a service location and a service allocation percent. Hold on a sec, sorry. And then what I have here is that this section needs to validate that the total is 100%. Okay, so I have here that for this section that this is the area which needs to be used to split the log records, and that you're going to just check on that to see if that's out of the box functionality or whether you need to build that. And then that section, all of those allocations need to total 100. Is there any other notes or stuff you want me to put on here, Todd?
No, that's it.
All right, I'll turn it back over. Presenter. All right. Okay. So that was what we wanted to just wrap up. And until Chad calls in, I guess at this point, if you wanted to go through what we're going to go through today, that would be great. So I think you have to share, I made you presenter, I think you have to share your screen again. I think most of it is just going through calculations. So today, the space snapshot. So we need to review sort of the rest of these requests.
Yeah, these are the ones that, so Chad's in the room?
No, he is working from home. I sent him a message to call in.
Okay.
So hopefully he will call in at some point.
Okay,
but
yeah, these are the ones that I moved down from yesterday.
Okay.
Either, we didn't get to them or they fell into a different bucket when we looked at them or whatever, but these are the items that fall into the space snapshot, the custom reports and dashboards, offline and calculation logic, which we're going to have that discussion, later on. I probably put those.
I think that, so the only meeting we had this afternoon was this basic half-hour meeting to make sure that you have what you needed for the utility billing calculation. But this is Tammy and Rana and David. I was thinking you wanted to go through all of that this morning, if we could, and then
For
if
what?
you have everything you need, we'd be done. And if we don't, we can wrap it up at that 2:30 to 3.
Yeah, they're the ones that brought this up. I'm going to let them run with it.
Well, before we run with it with them, can we do a quick run-through with you, because you're the one who has to understand it, because you're the one that has to tell the developers how to develop it. And so it would be better to know that this meets your requirement, because if it doesn't, then we have only a couple hours, an hour, or whatever to fix it before this afternoon's meeting.
Okay, I'll have to, give me a few minutes here, and then if you want to get into it, we'll get into it.
No, we can go through, I know we need to finish all the requirements, but I don't think that's going to take this whole 3 hours. So why don't we get through all the requirements here, and then with what's left over, we'll review that document.
Well, I don't know, if you're saying that you want to modify what you want to present today and then that meeting, we might do it first. That way, if you find out you have a lot of issues, then
Okay. Do you
you have some time to do it. Otherwise, if we wait for the last bit of this 3 o'clock, you won't have that long. But
that wouldn't. Okay. That sounds great. So I will pull that open. Hold on one sec.
I still got to just take a couple minutes here and get the kids out the door.
Oh, not a problem.
All right. So while you're doing that, I'll be right back.
All right. I'll just pause for a sec. Take your time. For now. And so let me finish up with the boxes. So basically, blue is calculations the system will need to do.
You might have to go back and forth between your spreadsheet, though.
Well, we can. If there's an element on the spreadsheet, we can say where it's coming from.
Yeah.
But the whole first chunk of this, everything is coming from the log. So, and they've got them labeled. So here's the initial consumption, unit of measure, residual consumption. So they've actually labeled each of the boxes that are a result or a value that gets populated into TRIREGA is a yellow, orange, whatever color that is.
Yeah, populated either manually or by the interface / offload.
All automatically. These are all automatically populated. So for example, when it looks at this consumption, now this unit of measure might have already been populated on the log. It might already be there when the reading comes in, I don't know. The unit of measure.
Right, well, the unit of measure, we're just showing. The
Yep.
unit of measure is just something that comes automatically, you
Yep.
know.
And so you'll see a little box, or a little circle above the unit of measure, has a number. These are all up here. So unit of measure is tied to the utility. It's populated via logic. Electric meter is equal to a meter type of electric, therefore U of M is kilowatt hours. So, what we
and
don't
this
know.
group, just you guys in this meeting here, you guys developed this?
Yep.
Yep, it was Haley and Arwen and Kevin outside of the group. So anything that's a green box is basically a decision point for TRIREGA. And I think there's an action box in here somewhere. There's our action.
Yeah, there's
human
one
action.
box.
We push a button or click a something or other.
But
So that's,
when you say it's automatically, like these are consumption readings, so you got the 100 and 150.
yep, so she's going to walk you now
Let me-
through the whole thing. I just wanted to give you the key. So,
What this document does, right? So the beginning of this document shows, you know, the readings have been entered into TRIREGA, right? And that's either, don't interrupt, that's either via the
invoice or the interface.
the invoice or the interface, right? So this is what happens now, right? We enter the consumption, it goes into the log. How does TRIREGA now calculate the consumption and what's ready to be billed? We enter meter readings, and then here's what happens in TRIREGA to finish populating the log.
So what I'm wondering real quick on this first box, would it be more clear instead of seeing reading number 1 and reading number 2, say log?
No.
So these, but each of these represent a log record.
No.
I thought they were the log records that are brought in through.
Those are the two readings on that one meter
Understand.
to
but,
generate one log.
Right, but what I'm saying, I thought it would be.
It is entered to the log,
I'm going to
yeah.
have 2 logs per
Okay.
meter.
So this will basically be, so.
Box is a log record.
So here's my question real quick, does this process happen when the interface comes in?
No,
When does this process happen?
when you hit calculate
So.
or whatever.
It
It can't just auto, you know, we have to, whatever, you know, it's, what we do now, right, is we enter all of our readings and we enter all of our invoices and we enter everything and we push a calculate button and it goes tick, 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 and all this background logic happens, and then the consumption fields are populated and the log is populated.
So maybe we need one action button right there to say calculate, and then that everything.
So we don't know how that works, so I didn't want to put a button there for something that may or may not be an actual part of the process.
Can you run these through one at a time? So if you had reading number 1,
No.
You can't.
No, reading number 1 and reading number 2 go in at the same time, because they're the high and low reading on the same meter.
I understand they're both in there. When you say in there, you're saying in the log. So
In the meter.
The
The physical meter has 2 readings.
I understand that. So the physical meter has 2 readings.
Yes.
They're either going to be both sitting as a line item, 2 line items on an invoice, or they will be 2 rows on the interface
Yes.
that come into Tririga.
Yes.
So we now have 2 rows sitting in the log record. Are you saying we need to have a 3rd row that generates based on those 2 rows? Or are you saying, I was saying, can we look at each row separately and say, yes, because it's all going to aggregate when we bill. When we bill it, you can either sum them or bill each reading separately. What if you billed the low as one billing and the high as one billing? And
Messy and
update.
horrible.
But how do you do this? Unless we do this logic in the interface to say, I know you have 2 readings for the same meter, do this with them. So if you're always saying, if there's 2 meters, that you're always summing them, that we then have to sum and generate only 1 log record,
Yes.
then this logic has to happen, this first part has to happen in the interface. And it has to happen when it comes from the invoice to the log record. It can't happen after the fact.
But that's, Tririga needs to
Yes,
do that.
nope, I'm okay with that.
As it comes in, there's 2 lines in the interface, and it says, there's 2 lines, same meter number.
Sum them.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we need to document here is maybe like a little loopy thing here, because this first chunk here has to happen during interface. So then you say during interface or from upload from invoice, sum, and this process happens and generates 1 log record.
Okay.
Okay? Is that?
Yeah.
Okay, because then we have the 1 log record, because otherwise I had no idea how we would manage that
Right.
otherwise.
Well,
Okay.
I think we left it vague because we thought it was EKIFM's job to figure out the
How to
best
do
way
that.
to make that happen.
Yeah, no, and that's why, so,
Because, again, we are not programmers.
yeah. But the thing I'm trying to figure is, if the way that this was going, if we would have taken this, we would have had to create a 3rd log record and then done all the stuff on it.
Well, honestly,
That'll throw all our stuff off on the sustainability side. It'll double everything.
well, I still don't think it's our job
Okay.
to say
So-
how best this works. We say we have
Got
2
it.
readings, they go in, they get added together to create 1 log record. So the only thing I think we need to change in here is to make clear that those should generate 1 log record, not 1 log record for the high and 1 log record for those. So there needs to be 1.
So now I'm
And
clear.
it's EKIFM's job to
determine
figure
where
out
that happens.
where in the process that happens.
Got it. Okay, so, Todd, so when she's talking readings here, this reading 1 and reading 2, because we have meters that have more than 1 reading, is equivalent to a row, basically it's 2 rows coming in from the interface or 2 lines on the invoice that are associated with the same meter site. And so when it comes in with that process, we need them to use this logic here, which is basically, taking this information and then summing it and generating 1 log record. So I guess to Arwen's point, we don't care how that does it. We just need, when we have multiple readings for the same meter site, that we are only doing our calculations and all the rest of this process on 1 record, 1 log record.
That's correct. So that first logic box is creating 2 log records?
one
log record from two readings either coming in from the interface.
From the interface or from the invoice.
Or from the invoice.
So how come, so that's typical that you get like half a reading and another half of a reading on a meter? Or is it multiple meters, multiple physical meters on one side you're talking about?
No, it's 1 meter, there's a high reading and a low reading, and they have to be added together. They're not like, they're just, it takes 2 readings to...
Right, so if you have...
And just explain to me, because I didn't understand high and low, I thought was an average thing.
I know,
high and low.
I'm just telling you.
Yep.
And I don't think we need to go into the entire definition of high and low and how the meter works. There are 2 readings on 1 meter that need to be added together to come up with the consumption.
Yep, okay, all right, as long as, is it always 2?
On over 20% of our meters, there's 2. So we just thought if we design for 2 and then 80% of our meters have zeros on that second reading, that's easier than trying to design and trying to figure out an exception for 20% of our meters.
Yeah, I think you're right.
You know, if it was 2% of our meters, we would figure out how to fix it process-wise and not programming-wise.
Yeah, and I don't know, they might do something with the interface where they sum right before they send, but we still have to deal with the other side of the invoice. The multiple lines on the invoice coming. So however you choose to design that chunk at the beginning, this first, the reading box, the blue logic box, and the first 2 yellow-ish colored things basically are what will be put into the log record initially. Okay. So, do you think that if we took this chunk and just put in here logic for initial log record population and just say reading for a meter site need to generate into 1 log record or
I was
not?
just going to add that in that very first blue box, 2 results are added to create 1 log record.
Beautiful.
50
Okay.
plus 30 equals 80.
Okay.
That seems like the easiest place. You can bold it and
Mhm.
underline it.
Yep.
Added to create 1.
Yep. And so, and listen, I don't know if we need to say or put, you know, a line going down through the, you know, this chunk saying this is the initial log record population. From here, this is
Sure.
where the rest of the buttony logic happens when you push calculate. Is that where this happens?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we need
we can
another,
put a line and everything, you know.
Yeah.
yeah.
If you want to scroll up a little bit.
Yep, just
Tiny bit. There you
Yep.
go. So add like a couple rows here, and then, you know, do like a brackety thing from, you know, here to here, initial log population, and then from here to here, calculate.
Yeah, button is pushed, this happens. And then this other button. So now, and so we are going to talk about this little chunk here, but since we've done some discussion, we're kind of almost have that pretty well. So this is the button that is the Bill Now button. So we need the calculate button.
Right.
And then another, right where you have this chunk, that's the
Bill Now
action.
The Bill Now is currently the close utilities or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Perfect. So we'll add that to the top so you kind of know which phase. So this is creating the initial log record. You could put a note there that says this is either through the interface or the invoice lines. This right here is the calculate. You might want to put a thing that this might have to be done more than once if the values
Will
are
have to be done
wrong.
more than once.
Will have to be done more than once. Okay, so I think what we'll do is you want to run through Would it be easier for you to run through a full scenario from the very beginning to the very end, Todd, or would it be easier to go through each scenario by kind of the sections? So here's scenario 1 and how it generates a log record. Here's scenario 2 and the log record. Which would be easier for you?
Well, what do you mean scenario 1, scenario 2?
Okay, so there's 4 scenarios. The very end, I don't know if you want to, they're on the side here. So this is a meter site which does not have any deduct meters. Is it weight? Is that what it has?
It does not have a deduct meter.
So then isn't always this no?
Right.
Then why is there a deduct meter?
Well, it's just to show like that is the path.
That's a decision point.
Got it.
Is there a deduct meter, yes or no?
Right, so we're following this one. So this right here is a scenario where the site has a deduct meter or meters. And which one is this one?
That's the deduct meter.
Yep.
This is the
Well, I mean, I
actual
can
deduct.
stop you there, yeah. Each scenario, then start to finish.
Start to
Right.
finish. All right. I will listen to just Gooch as I need to.
Okay, so scenario 1, we've entered the readings, we've hit the, it populates the initial log with 80 kilowatt hours. We hit the calculate button. The first decision point that Tririga comes to is there a deduct meter? If not, we go on the happy path.
And that's the parent-child.
Right. If there is no child, then there's nothing to take out of the consumption. So it's just going to bill the whole consumption for that meter because there's none to spread to.
Should I put like child in parentheses after deduct?
Huh?
Should I put child in parentheses after deduct?
No. No.
No, we can, and if we need to, we can note that as a down below. Because see mapping document for definition of deduct meter.
Whatever.
So.
They asked us to come up with the logic. They did not ask us to map this to our.
Well, and we didn't have that mapped. Okay.
Okay, so there's no deduct meter. That means initial consumption equals residual consumption. Tririga doesn't have to do anything. It populates the residual consumption with the 80 kilowatt hours. The next decision point is, okay, great. Is that meter on for billing?
With the flag.
Right. We've got that flag that says it's either on or off for billing. If it's off for billing, we still have to calculate and even if a meter is off for billing, that consumption still needs to go to our database because we still need to be able to report the off of the consumption and analyze the consumption, even if it's not billed to anybody. So that's what this path is saying is, okay, it's not on for billing. So if it's not on for billing, we're going to apply a rate of $0 so that it doesn't calculate any dollars to bill, but the 80 kilowatt hours is still going to flow through as consumption on that meter.
Yeah, still tracks it, just not billed.
Right.
So then it goes down, so basically it's now calculated what the consumption is and that it's got $0 to bill.
Mm-hmm.
You have to keep following the arrows.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know if you were going to do the yes. So, yep.
And so then it goes into what we've called a holding area because we don't really know what it looks like, but it's kind of the temporary table or the wherever this stuff lives before it is finalized and stamped,
So, yeah, and that's what I put here.
Right.
You might have a separate table that's kind of a holding area. You might have it done by statuses on your log records.
Right.
A draft status until whatever. However you decide to do that, But what she is going through, if they go through into this holding area, they've done you push the button, done all the calculations, they do a bunch of validation, and if something's wrong, they go back and change something and hit calculate again, and the whole process goes through again. And they do that multiple times before they finally say, it all looks good.
Right.
It's done.
Right.
And ready for billing.
So we go through the process of entering all the readings and going and importing and interfacing and blah-bitty-blahing, and then we hit calculate, and that's when we run all of our exception reports, and we go through and go, oh my God, Dunhow used 3 times as much steam as it's ever used in the entire history of Dunhow. And so then, we go and ask engineers, okay, engineers, what the hell's going on? Is the meter wrong? Did, we blow out all the windows and have to, reheat the building to make up for it, whatever, right? And so sometimes the answer is, nope, that just is what it is, and we leave the readings the way they are, and great. And sometimes the answer is, oh, look at that, there was something really weird going on with that meter, and so they give us a correction, and we go into the system, we go into Tririga, and we correct the reading or correct the consumption. And then we can, and we do that for all of our exceptions, and we hit calculate again, and then we look at our exception reporting again to see if there's still anything hanging out. But after we've gone through that process and fixed all of the things that we've caught that look weird on all of the exceptions, that's when we go through the billing process. So we go through this initial process of, calculating and then running reports a few times before everything gets finalized and stamped as ready to go to bill. So that kind of intermediate, purgatory land is what we're calling the holding area right now, because again, it could just be a pending status on the log record, or, could be an actual holding table or whatever.
Yeah, reads will go in at the beginning of the month. We'll do that process throughout the month. At the end of the month, we do the bills.
Right.
Send everything through. One time a month.
Yeah. So does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So all paths right now, we'll go through all the paths that lead to the holding area.
Okay. So
You
we'll
know?
go back up here.
So
Sorry.
So we've entered our initial readings. It calculates 80 kilowatt hours. Is there a deduct meter? Why, yes, there is. Great. Is that deduct on for billing? No, it's not. Well, then we don't need to deduct any consumption from that meter.
It follows the path.
Then you go back on the happy path. And then when you get to the, is it on for billing, basically the difference is if it's on for billing, it applies whatever the rate is for that utility. And so when it goes to the holding area, it's got dollars and units of measure. If it's not on for billing, the units of measure go to the holding area, but the rate applied is 0, so there's $0.
That's why we did amount to bill, because it hasn't actually billed yet. Kind of like that pending calculation.
So what I might recommend here is right here, put one of these yellow boxes that says residual bills, what's the field that we are putting the billing amount in?
It hasn't billed yet, though, which is
no,
why
but
we don't.
No, but you still populate the value.
No. Nothing's billed yet.
I understand, but you still put billed amount in that field, and it sits in there ready to be billed, and the calculation.
I'd rather not have it populate at all until it's actually billed.
Well, the thing is, the billing will take that value and multiply by all your allocation records. So let's say you have a billing of $100, and now you look at the meter site and you go, okay, at this account is being billed you know, 10% this account's being billed, 5% this account is getting the other 85. That's where you create those billing allocation records. You want to have a parent record that says this is the total billed amount, but the actual billing transactions are the children.
Yeah, well, I still don't think that should populate until we've actually closed the month, because otherwise you've got a dollar amount there that says we billed something that we have not billed.
But it's in draft status.
That is how it currently works, but yeah.
People look at it, they don't see draft status, they don't see, I mean, we're not the only ones looking at these things sometimes, so.
Well, I would tell them you probably shouldn't look at that all for billing. You probably need to go to a billing transaction table for billing.
We can't tell people anything, they don't listen to us, they just go look at stuff.
So then all of this
In the doghouse.
has to be when you push billing. It'll have to go back and populate the billing field again while it's doing this. And do you not do any validation on dollar amounts?
No.
No?
Okay.
We put one rate into the system, there's nothing to validate. Unless the system starts doing things wrong.
I guess we do validate the pending billed consumption. So like when we look at those billing reports, it'll tell us what's going to bill out. It doesn't run residual consumption. Like we don't really care about the dollars, but the units just to see like what's all on and what's going to go out.
So if you need that billing, that value amount available prior to billing, you're going to need a little orange box here.
I don't think we need
If
the
you
dollar
don't.
amount available prior to billing.
Okay. Okay, then we are fine. Just checking. Prior.
We're not aiming to design it exactly the way Compass is right now anyway.
No, this is standard.
But that is the point of the consumption that we're planning on billing. Like if that has to fit somewhere, you know what I mean?
Well, the transaction will be there with a billing amount blank until you hit billing, and then it'll have to go back to populate the parent and go through all this logic, you know, this final logic, because honestly, the way that you're thinking about it, this here, where it says residual consumption, this actually goes down into your holding area.
Yeah.
Right.
And then this is on for electric billing. It actually happens after the button is pushed.
No.
Yes, because it can't do any of this logic if you're not going to put the final value anywhere.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yep. But you have it here, there should be an orange box.
Okay.
If you want it the other way.
No, you're right. Okay, orange box, fine.
Well, I'm not telling you what to do.
No,
I'm
that's a
just
good
trying to
point.
tell you that
No, you're right.
you either have to orange box it there.
No, you're right.
And honestly, they're already going through a lot. It's so much easier, and you know.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
And hopefully, most people are only looking at the consumption amounts. In fact, you're adding a field, so there's no reporting that exists on this field anywhere. So don't let them use the field. Make it unavailable.
Okay.
So, all right, so we're going to add a little orange box here with the name of the field that this value will go into. Does that make sense, Todd?
Yeah.
So, hold on, let me figure out what that field is. What are we calling it?
So we would need billed consumption and billed.
It says build dollar sign.
Billed dollar.
Yep.
So billed consumption, billed dollar.
Yep. So right here, so you've got, well, billed consumption, so you want them both there.
Yeah.
So you populate billed consumption with the residual consumption, because you already said that right here.
Yep.
And billed dollar.
Yep.
2 boxes.
Well,
You can do one on top.
Here there wouldn't be. There'd be 0 for both. Because we're not billing
Right.
consumption.
0 and 0.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
but you have 2 boxes on each of these lines.
Okay.
Cool. Okay. So we did this.
Right.
Okay.
So
Now we're going to do
what
the bottom
happens?
half.
Right. So if
So start up here, and gonna go.
If there's a deduct, Tririga has to look for that child relationship. You need to scroll down so we can see what Electric 05's. Can you make it smaller so that we can actually get more on the screen?
Oh, that's right, I'm down.
There, that's fine. Scroll down a little more.
Oh, I see what you're trying to get to.
Yeah.
You're just trying to get to this guy.
There you go, okay.
So why don't you want to start with this guy and then?
No. So, when we did our initial, right, okay. So when we did our initial entering of the readings, meter site Electric 05, which is a child of meter site Electric 01 up above, has, you know, a current and a prior reading, and so that calculates out to an initial consumption of 5 kilowatt hours. Because meter site Electric 05 is a child of meter site Electric 01, when it gets to the decision box up there, is the deduct on for billing? Yes. Okay, great. We need to subtract 5 kilowatt hours from Electric 01, which gives Electric 01 a residual consumption of 75, and Electric 05 a residual consumption of 5. So we've still got the original 80 kilowatt hours, but it's now spread between the parent and the child. And then it goes through the same, is it on for billing, is it off for billing? Questions? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
We tried to kind of map it out pretty simply here, and then if you go down a little bit and show him where I put actual down, there. Right here, I actually just took a snapshot of some of our actual meters. This is the billing that is going out, you know, and so this just shows exactly how it worked for, you know, this handful of our meters so that you can see it flow through.
Okay.
What's going on in water? Oh, what happened there?
I'm not sure. I just copied in.
I'll just note to fix it.
Yeah, I'll look at it.
Okay, so are we now going to go through this meter?
I don't think we need to go through that meter. It's the same as the other meter.
Okay.
The only thing to note on that second meter is it basically it does the exact same thing, and it could also be looking for an additional deduct meter. So a deduct meter could have another deduct meter.
Yeah. So this one will work just like the top one after that point.
Right. So they're identical. It's noting that essentially they could both have a deduct meter.
Right. And the other thing in here to note is that when they're looking for a deduct, this particular meter might have one or many deduct meters. So you have to find everywhere where this meter has children.
How often is like multiple deduct meters?
You know.
Relatively often. One of my examples down below is a situation where there's a parent with 2 deducts.
This one?
Yeah, the 178, 2, 6, and 10. That's a parent with 2 deducts.
Yeah, so when you would do the record for this one, you would have to subtract these 2.
Right.
Right? So it's basically saying when you're doing this, go look for all log records where this meter site is in the deduct from meter site and subtract that value. Does that make sense, Todd?
Yeah, it does.
Perfect. Okay. And just like Haley said, this child record will work just like the parent. It's doing exactly the same thing. Once it gets to here, it's going to go through exactly the same logic. It's also going to check to see if it has children, child or children, and if so, it goes, everything else, hold on, I got to wiggle. Everything else is the same. So,
I'm not sure we really want to map out that whole extra deduct meter, just say, go through process as mapped above.
and maybe what you could do is from right here, you could just say that. From here on, this is exactly the same.
No, I meant down here.
Oh, this guy?
Yeah. Instead of having that whole swim lane there, just
same as
if it has a deduct, yes, and then instead of going back through the whole thing, just say yes, then it follows the same logic as above.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we've got this whole extra swim lane that adds all kinds of more stuff for people to read.
What you could do is on
Step is to make sure all those fields are in these forms that support it, and it sounds like it is. There's not a lot of fields that trigger this out.
Yep, everyone that's labeled above here exists either as one that you're renaming or a new field that we've added to the log.
There's really very little actual logic and decision point in this. Is it on for billing or off for billing? Is there a deduct or isn't there? You know?
Right.
And even though there can be multiple deducts, it's still the exact same logic.
Right.
You know, and
find any record where the from is it.
It's very simple logic in my mind, you know.
Right.
Is it on for billing? Great, bill the rate. Is it not on for billing? Great, bill $0.
Yep.
You know, I mean,
So one you can do, one of the things they do with mapping is you could have an arrow here with a symbol, and then down here where it says yes, just yes,
go back
say go to symbol.
Okay.
And then you can even do the yes, like just bring this dotted down just a little bit more, and just put yes here, and then keep it a swim lane, and then remove this whole swim lane.
That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
Definitely.
And yep. Okay, so the last piece we need to talk to you about, and this is more the admin part of,
No.
we are admin.
No.
It's the billing.
No.
No?
This is what gets to the, well, yeah, I guess. I mean, because we haven't applied allocations or anything in here. It's just, here's how does it determine total consumption and total dollars to be billed, and then it goes to the allocation bill process.
Well, and remember now, we have those values already stamped. They're not locked.
Right, so this is stamping them and locking them.
This will stamp and lock all your records here. And then what we probably want to note here, all transactions charged to blah, 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 whatever. Okay, so this part here, when we get to this button again, all of this and over, see you have your build buttons, these here. These are the ones that
Would we want
over
it in
there.
both places?
You're going to want them, but I don't know how we represent. So what this is going to represent is that this stuff just sort of moves over. They'll be over here. But we need to somehow note, we don't know how this part's going to work until Kim and the admin part are talking about where all these transactions go. But once they've locked the transactions in the log as ready for billing, or that they basically closed the month, it's kind of a status of month closed, however it is, when they push a button, the system should say, find everything that's flagged to bill, or anything with a billing amount not equal 0, right? And then it's going to take those records and apply for each meter site the billing allocation that's on the meter site record.
We're not doing that on this thing.
But here we're not talking about that. We're just saying it's going to take those.
I'm going to change that to not equal to 0 though, because we could have a negative
Yes,
one in 0.
it should be not equal to 0.
Yeah.
Yep. And so this is basically just saying that it takes it through and it does its stuff. What we are not saying here is exactly how it's going to apply the allocations and what it's going to do, because we don't know how that yet is going to be designed. But at some point here, just
Right.
like all the other types of transactions, you're gonna have to apply the chargeback
Right.
account strings, the multiple account strings, and we don't know how that's gonna happen. So that's where Kim steps in and does the rest of this. When you finish this chunk, then it really moves into the admin realm.
Right. Our point in this part of the map was that we want everything to go through the process the same, except since if it's not on for billing, we're going to have it grab a $0 rate, so it's got a $0 amount in the billed amount, which then means when we go to the what are we pushing to PeopleSoft, what are we pushing to the allocation process, whatever, what are we pushing to the billing process, it grabs everything that doesn't have a $0 amount. Because otherwise, you know, if all of those go, then we're going to have a gazillion $0 transactions flowing through to PeopleSoft, which makes no sense.
And you don't care. Wait. Do you, okay, since we are splitting out the building usage percentages on the log side, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you actually need any more those allocation records where it has, this is the usage for this account to be stored? Could you just, so we don't need that. So right now in your holding area currently, you have these consumption records that we just defined, plus they've already applied the allocation
I don't care where they apply the allocation percentages, as long as it gets back.
You don't look at those, you don't care, you only look at the billing once it's billed. You might go to JC Extract to go look at that.
No, I look at it yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you look at it by chart string, as long as your billed consumption, let's say it's just sitting in this transaction table, you can look at it there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then we're good. Do you need to know the billing percentage split on something that's not being billed? So if you have an allocation on a meter site that is not marked to bill, do you care that those are there? Do you do any analysis of the split if you're not billing?
No, the point is if
That
it's
is
not
beautiful.
billing, it
No,
doesn't go to that point.
Just checking. So, because you've already, that's the beauty of having split the building usage allocations from your billing allocations. Now you don't need to do that.
Okay, nice.
Before you did, now you don't, because we split them. Okay, if you're not following it, it's really cool. You're designing a really cool thing. So, do you have any questions for us, Todd, on this? Does this get you understanding that everything after the holding area and pushing the button, the rest of that still needs to be designed with Kim, but it gets us to having our consumption transactions ready to go with whatever they're going to do. Do you have any questions on the stuff before? Is this what you were looking for? Will this actually,
Yeah, I think this work. Let's have a discussion with this and see, you know, I don't think we need to get into it to this level of detail with them. You know, I think.
Okay.
No, again, this is why I'm going to lead the conversation this afternoon with them, because my answer to them is, we did what you asked us to, it's done.
Okay.
I'm not going to walk them through this unless they ask to be walked through it. My answer to them is, this meeting was to check on our status, we've done it.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to see if they are in there to talk about this is a fit gap 5, we're not going to be doing this in prototype, but we are going to be doing this in the implementation, or, you know, what's the ramification?
Yeah, they can have that discussion for, that's fine for us. That's not for,
right.
We don't care. That's not us.
I don't care.
We do have Chad on the phone. So, Chad, can you hear us?
Just in time for a break.
Yeah. Is he chat? Let me see it. Let me get the chat screen up. Okay.
Let me take 5 and then we'll come back to it with Chad.
Okay. Okay, wonderful.
Still here if you have questions.
Almost said not still here in 5 minutes.
Okay. I'm gonna turn the screen over to you. If you want to bring up the building equipment form, and then Chad, if you see that, if you want to walk us through kind of the design that you're doing with that general section part, that would be wonderful. You might need to share your screen. I'm not seeing anything here, Todd.
I know, I'm like,
Oh, there we go.
it's been a long week already.
I know. This is Wednesday.
I know. My birthday.
And when we're done with this, we have an hour left. We could probably get through the rest of the requirements. And maybe we get back tomorrow. Okay. All right, Chad.
All right.
Can you walk us through what you're doing?
Yep, so the general section, the ID field would be a Tririga populated incremental number, non-intelligent. We will also have the equipment name, as you see on the screen. We are adding a field called asset label, which pertains to the functional location and also the drawings. So think of like chiller 1. Will always be chiller 1. Even if we take it out and put a new one in its place, it's still chiller 1. That's what we're calling the asset label. We'll have a barcode field for the EAM barcode sticker. We are adding 2 additional fields for capital asset tags. So a flag that says whether or not the piece of equipment is a capital asset, and a separate field to capture the capital asset number. We are adding 2 fields to retain the legacy name if the piece of equipment had a name in famous, to capture that over. We have a refrigerant flag checkbox if it contains refrigerant. The building system class that you see on the screen there is in essence uniformat. We are extrapolating that out so that we can have both the uniformat number and the description in separate fields, along with 2 additional fields for uniformat level 5 and level 5 description.
And you're not making those required, are you?
No, they're not required.
Wonderful. Can I ask, what are you populating? Could you give me an example of what you would be populating into the name field?
The name would be the name that we are creating for the piece of equipment. So, for example, if it's a centrifugal pump, that's what you'd see there.
So you would see you wouldn't see a unique name. You just see centrifugal the
Correct.
pump.
Yep.
Okay.
And then we're also looking to have a description field, which you see down at the bottom, which is kind of like the spec description. Which would give you some more of the notes about the pump's located by this, or... Got it.
Another description field like the one you said down there at the bottom, at the top in the general?
Correct.
Got it. So when you link your records, what is going to be your linking field? What is the unique identifier then for your records? That's a system-generated number?
Correct.
Okay.
And then we are also adding 3 fields for a university-defined classification tree. So 3 levels. So think of like level 1 would be fire or health and safety. Level 2 could be health and safety equipment, and level 3 would be defibrillator.
Is that where you're going to handle the utility tree
No,
for Jerome?
this would be for equipment and assets that Uniformat wouldn't classify.
Ah, okay. Got it.
So think of like simulators, think about, you know, some maybe network routers, stuff of that nature that's not building related.
Yep, okay, great. Okay, I think that should, Todd, that should be enough for us to map our fields, right?
Yeah, you said the name field you're using is just an identifier of that, then you're adding, what's the asset label then different from the name field?
Well, the asset label would be like Chiller 1, and Chiller 1 will always be Chiller 1, but Chiller 1 could have a number of sub-assets associated with it.
Are any of your other fields that you gave me, unique fields, any of the other ones
No.
requiring uniqueness?
Well, barcode would probably be unique, but it's not system generated.
Is that the same barcode field that you have on the form here already? Is that what you're talking about utilizing?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep, but like I said, we'll be adding an additional one. So we're going to use the out-of-box one for the EAM asset tag. For those pieces of equipment that are over $5,000, they actually have a second barcode tag that capital assets affixes to it. So we'd be adding a new field to capture that tag value.
Okay. Okay. Are you requiring the legacy name be unique?
No.
Okay.
Because there'll be a lot of equipment that doesn't have that field populated.
Right, but it doesn't have to be populated, right? It just needs, unique means if you add something, it can't be the same as something else, right? But,
yeah,
but basically, there's nothing on there now.
Yeah, I don't think we have a requirement to have that field unique. It's just more of a historical reference.
Okay. Cool. Todd, do you have any other questions?
No.
Okay.
All right.
I think we're good. Thank you very much, Chad. Good luck with your water heater.
All right, and good luck with your session.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right. So, all right. So all we have to do then is map these fields on here. So, where are we? So we have 3 fields that we need. And we'll have to figure out what we do with this. So, do you guys have a meter site number, like 044-chill or whatever, CMO1? And what I have here, a meter name, which is kind of a short description. And we have a meter asset number. Oh, no, we've already handled that one. So, and then I have the meter's ID. And so, name of meter for billing purposes should be linked to physical assets but retain history prior. Oh, got it. Okay. So I'm guessing your meter site ID was just a unique, so we talked about renaming. So the ID is a system-generated number across the top. That is how it links to everything. But the name can change. So when we populate the information into the log, you would need the meter site ID populated, or the name populated, or both populated. So ID 12345 or and 044 SEMA1. so both fields need to be on the log.
Mhm.
Got it. So the one thing I'm seeing here that I'm not sure how we will resolve is for us, we have this meter site number for us, which example would be 044 steam 01. I'm not sure, and we need that to be unique. We can never have it be the same as something else. And I don't know what we do with that. I don't know if we just usurp the barcode entry or create our own new field. It looks like there's only 2 fields that require uniqueness outside of the ID, which is barcode and capital asset number.
Why don't you use capital asset number, no?
I don't know if it matters. I mean, we could do that and just not check the capital asset flag. But it'll be down in the details section. But if we put it in the general section, everybody sees it anyway. So I don't want to have a meter number there.
Right.
So
So are you thinking that you'll let the ID auto-generate like they do?
I think I don't think we want to do anything different with that. One of the things that our group here wanted to be able to do is change the meter site number value, which I know it says number, but it's 044 steam 01. They want to be able to change that. Still has to be unique, but we've had some circumstances where stuff changed, and we would be nice to be able to change that moving forward. So, like I said, either we, I almost think we use barcode because it's close up, the barcode entry. Does barcode entry field already require uniqueness?
No, I don't think so. No.
Okay. But
I think he was just saying it will be unique just because it's a generating of a barcode.
So, not required.
It's not, it does, I don't think it has any logic to it.
Can we go here, so can we, I don't have a problem throwing our value in a field. Do you?
No.
Okay. So it sounds like we have kind of figured out that we might have to add another field on the log. So, so this ID field is,
So then everywhere that value appears, it would be labeled barcode entry, right?
yeah,
Instead of meter site number?
yeah. But you can rename your titles. You just have to rename it everywhere. But everywhere you see it, now you can have a meter site number on the log, like it's populated by this. So I'm not quite sure what else we do. I would have used the name field and made sure that was unique, but that's not what they're doing, so we need to make sure we align to what they're doing. So this is a system generated number, read only.
We don't want to add it.
Are they, oh, we didn't ask Chad that. Is Chad still on the phone? I don't know, let me see. Nope, he's gone. I don't know if they're making it read-only or not. I would assume if they're making it system-generated, that they're making it read-only.
Which one? The ID?
The ID.
I don't know. It doesn't have to be, but nope. I mean, it's not out. It's not like that. People don't modify it.
Yep. This is the meter name. This is the name name of the meter site. And so name of meter site, it is a unique value. Okay, so it sounds like we will be mapping our meter site ID into the ID field.
You want to show your screen again?
Oh, yep. Let me grab it. Hold on. Oh, here we go. So we have our meter site ID, which is basically the system-generated number, read-only, we think. Not sure, but even if it isn't, that number is never, because it's, it has to be, well, it's a very unique, it has to be unique. If it's a system-generated number, this is the field that they're using to link, it has to probably be read-only. I don't know how it could be anything but that, but we'll have it as a question. I'll have to ask Chad just to make sure. If it's not read-only, it should be. We have our meter site number. So at this point, we're gonna map that into the details section. So general tab, general section. Building, general tab, table, details section, and that's the barcode field? Or just barcode, right?
Barcode entry.
Barcode entry, thank you.
That field currently have logic in it, do you think?
He said no, but they're gonna have to put unique. It sounds like Chad said their requirement was the barcode would need to be unique.
Okay, I'm just thinking like if it goes anywhere since it's part of the system, Chariga, I don't know. Like if that's gonna affect anything else that they're doing.
What do you mean?
So if we have our meter sites in the barcode entry thing, if they're pulling in that cell or that field, does it do anything else?
So here's what I'll do here. I'll just put that here.
Okay.
And then the meter site name, now we had our stuff mapped here. That meter site name, this is, you're going to say a description of the meter? A short description of the meter site. And you will put that in the name field, correct?
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to leave these here as just awaiting eKIFM mapping validation. Can you please make sure with Ray that if we're going to, and actually ID is fine. We're done with ID. Name is fine. But this meter site number, this meter site number, if we're putting this value, I will put it here. This is the meter site name, needs to be unique in the system and must be editable, which it is. Must be unique in the system. Let's see.
Not required.
Examples. I'm going to just put examples. Do you want to give me actual examples? I just keep throwing stuff onto Don, how I have no idea, I guess.
001.
Do you guys have a tag, a barcode tag on these physical meters?
No.
A barcode on the physical meters, yes. Not the site. Not these.
So you would use, yeah, that's probably good. The physical meters would have the physical barcode on it, and then your virtual site would just be this number.
Yep. So
yeah,
if you want to validate that we don't screw up anything they're doing in O&M by doing this?
Yeah, no, that's good.
We're okay?
Yeah.
I do want to give me one more. Pick a meter in.
005, water 02. There's a dash between
Yeah.
the letter, and you accidentally took out the needs to be editable, and we need to leave that in there, 'cause
No,
it needs
we
to be
can, but it's
editable.
an editable field. It was,
Just,
okay.
I like to leave it in there because it really needs to be editable.
Editable, that was our, all right, and water dash 02,
Yeah,
And the
elect dash 01.
yeah.
You think I know your numbers by now? All right. So then the only thing we need to are you okay? I'm sorry, Todd, are you okay then with these three?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. So, hold on. Meter site. Yes. You want to know if you change your meter site name. Don't care about the rest. All right. So the only thing that we have to talk about then is we have to go back down to the log record. And so on here we have meter site number. Meter site, this would be populated with the, this is associated with the, because we're not going to have the ID when the log record comes in. We'll have the meter site number. So, barcode entry field on the loading equipment.
So that's something for the interface team to know. That there needs to be some sort of an error message that pops up if they're trying to import readings for a meter site that doesn't exist or doesn't match, like they missed a dash or...
Yep. And so, insert row above, and we're going to have the same issue here. And so this, don't need that.
And then when we do the upload template, we just put the label with barcode entry, I'm assuming, in the, I guess we're way away from that yet, but
Link to meter site, this is...
when we do the upload template, if we have the meter site label in there, we just want to make sure that the column label is barcode entry too, right? And then,
All right. So, it sounds like we'll have to have three, because our meter site number or name, that value might change. The ID is constant. It sounds like the ID field is actually the unique field. Let me put that here. This ID field is what is the associating. I don't even know how to word this. So I'm gonna let you guys all figure it out, Todd.
Yes.
So one of these
when we map the
have to go into the meter name lookup.
We'll map it.
My guess is it has to
correctly.
probably be this ID field if that's the unique one. But I don't know which one goes where. We talked a little bit while we were on break with Chad about these log records. And Chad was saying that Ray told him that all of their readings are in one area. So if they have a reading for a number of hours on a generator or, you know, number of miles on a vehicle, that those are all in one place. And if that's the case, I'm thinking it's probably not the energy log. But this is what you need to talk to Ray about, because there might be a process that they have to figure out that when these guys hit close their month, you know, where they push the button before, you know, to say it's ready to bill, it might have to generate something that pushes this reading, the log record into whatever this reading location happens to be for Ray's group.
Well, Ray's group needs to tell us where they were planning on getting utility meter readings from.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, at this point,
because if they were planning on getting those readings from the utility readings, then that's when they have to do that. If they're not, I don't effing care.
Right. So, if this is not the log that they're actually using, then my guess is that the ID ends up in the meter name lookup value, because I don't know. But anyway, for you to decide which one goes where, but we'll need the 3 fields: meter site ID, meter site number, and meter number. And I don't know if it's actual, at this guy, I guess it's meter, is it probably meter ID? Right?
Mhm.
Well, it won't make any sense, but yeah.
Yeah. You know what, maybe we don't care, and maybe we just want the serial number to populate. But, you know, no, you probably want to hook up to the ID. Meter number,
What, on the log?
ID.
Why do we need that on the log?
Don't you want to know?
Yes, got it.
Yeah. So I'm thinking it's the the meter associated to the meter site for a specific monthly billing period. However you link that, whatever the unique identifier is for those meter sites, or for those actual meters, that value needs to be here. If it's that ID randomly generated number, that's fine. We just need whatever the associating field to identify that meter thing. That would be what we need here.
I would think serial number, but
No, because I've already looked at your data, and there's actually the same serial number on different meters. For like water and sewer has different serial numbers. I already looked. There's a couple areas where you're going to have to fix
it's got to be meter site ID.
Yep, so it's whatever it is that identifies the unique identifier of that meter,
Mhm.
the actual meter, the meter. That's good. Hello.
Hello.
Okay. So if you're good with this, we can move back to the, and Sherry just joined us. We can move back to the requirements to try to finish those off.
Oh, okay.
Are you wearing them out or what?
We are. Assign. I am making you presenter again, Todd. I'm hoping the rest goes fairly quick. I think it's just validating.
Can you see my screen again?
Yep. No, I'll start you on your own too, right after lunch hits. Yeah, maybe I should start drinking coffee in the afternoon. So then I bounce off the wall. Even harder.
So you want to talk about this first one then, the space snapshot? I think we got
Yep.
the 2 fields that we needed, or was it ended up being 1 field?
It was just one field, and then I think you moved the other part into a report. The other one is a report requirement. So we can take a look, but it's really in the mapping doc. So we can look at it and validate.
In the mapping doc or in Fire Team you're talking about?
So we can look at Spiro Team, but the field that we need, we mapped.
Okay, well if you're good with that, then this is the requirement that's going to be in, and I'll
Okay, let's see, so this one, activate, will create a space.
I think it ended up being one field.
Yep. I think there's only one field that we needed added to the snapshot itself, and the new field is being added to the space form. Now, there are some other fields we need added to the snapshot, but that's associated with the other admin part. So there's
You mean the O&M part?
No, it's the financial. So we're only talking about the piece that the utility billing needs, which is that for billing on a space record for the space snapshot. There's only one field that they needed added to the space record, any of the location records for utilities.
But isn't that because some of the other ones that they would use are being added already?
I'm sorry.
Never mind.
But I think we have another one for you guys at the building level. I think it's important for some sort of flag at the building for Andrew.
Yeah, it's not admin, it's O&M.
Okay. Okay. That's fine.
Hmm?
It's all good.
Hmm?
So we can go on to the next one.
And what?
You can keep going.
We can keep going.
Oh, I thought you guys were discussing, I was listening to y'all's conversation. But before we get into the requirements that I categorize as either reports or dashboards, these two requirements that are in there are the 733s, and probably these billing calculations will be, you know, 5s and 4s in there as well, you know, based on the customization of the logic that we talked about today, but we can discuss it in that meeting this afternoon.
Okay.
So we'll hold on those, and then the rest of them are either what I categorize as custom reports or dashboards. So we can spend the last 45, 30 minutes talking about those if you want to do that.
Okay.
We can do that.
So what was that first one, 39?
Hmm?
You worked out more of the mapping. So yesterday, your site blog had a few questions answered about labeling the meters.
Are you doing calculations this afternoon?
So this is
Well,
similar
no,
to
Tammy and
that.
David and all them have
So this
that
is
meeting
similar to what we already
scheduled
looked
this afternoon,
at.
so we're gonna show them what we've completed.
Wasn't this
This year?
the query? Did we have one
We
that was
did.
a query that was
We did,
complete?
that's why I asked.
Hold on
Yeah.
a sec.
Sorry. We could go over the logic too.
Okay.
So there's a similar one that we had, which is a query that displays all.
So that was on the log itself. The query was on the log that just turns that field on if it's an exception or not.
Right.
Oh, okay. I thought there were two of them. One added the field, and did you just move this one down here then? There was another
No.
one that had the query. Remember it said editable query? We said it can't be an editable query because we need to actually have
That was
it.
on the log, and we changed it from an editable query.
I think this
Okay.
is just a different requirement saying we want to see it on the dashboard.
All right,
Yeah.
for me.
So it's basically a query on the dashboard that shows all the environmental logs that have the exception flag turned on.
Cool. The only part on there is exceptions that are assigned to them. We got rid of the assigned field. So it's just all exceptions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the only part on there that you need to remove where it just says allow the user to filter the list, says for only exceptions that are assigned to them. We're going to say just allow the user to filter the list by, like a couple predefined filters, because they won't be based on the assigned to them anymore.
Yeah,
Because
we don't have that.
assigning them. Yep, so on some of the others where, you know, show everything that's electric and Minneapolis water or whatever that was. But those are, you know, those.
Well, I'll just say filter the list, because any field that's turned on, they'll be able to filter it from that runtime filter.
Perfect. And if we want to define or create a predefined filter, that's not terribly difficult?
No, it's system filter instead of runtime filter.
Okay.
All right, we talked about this was a box in the playbook of receiving notification of response, but I think we talked through it and said it's either probably a report or a business process just to look at the outstanding logs flagged with the exceptions.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think this is in the 7/30/39.
We wanted anything that was outstanding, but also anything that was flagged at all during the month, so we can see what was removed.
Oh, here we said receive a notification
Yep.
at the time. We said
This is
no.
part of the process that we kind of already got rid of.
Yep.
So
Got rid of that, but we still want to be able to see what was.
we don't want to receive a notification.
No notification.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm just talking about the specific thing that's on the screen right now.
Right. This has been handled by the
Right.
previous one we just talked about. Dashboard. Right there.
Right.
Should be blank when you hit the button, done.
So we'll just say this is that requirement there.
Yeah. Yeah, so the requirement you just reviewed prior to this?
Yeah, that's it.
Yep. Here we go.
Yeah, basically that.
One that you were talking about though, it just shows you what's left. It doesn't show you like everything that was flagged. So I just want to make sure we can still see all of those and any of the
If you
activity.
flag them,
If it's not flagged anymore, you're not going to be able to see it.
That's
won't
the
be
problem.
Over that list, but you'll be able to get to it as a, history record.
Right.
As
As long as there's, okay, so some kind of functionality or report.
It would be a
You're
report.
probably just gonna write an ad hoc report.
Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of times they go, oh, it's fine, but it's, you have to
Yes.
follow up
Go
on
back
it.
and we'll look. Yeah. Okay.
Consolidate and compare the data campus-wide.
Is that like your big final?
Hey, were you guys involved, since we're talking about reporting, did you guys put together that list? I haven't even looked at that list of reports, but there was like a top 10 from each work stream. Did you guys do that with somebody?
We're working on it. We're part of
Okay.
the admin work stream, so there were 3 of our reports that got put on that top 10 list for the admin work stream, but I don't think those are the right 3.
Are there any?
Yeah, well, I don't know if there's any that we should actually put on that list because I don't think there's going to be any data in the prototype to write a report against.
Right. So in all of our reports, we were told that they're gonna use these top 10 to go look at anything that's close out of the box. And everything that these reports that they're looking at, there's nothing out of the box for them to pull. So, but they're still looking at a list of what eventually will be needed. Do you know, Todd, when are we going to kind of get an idea of when this will be in the design mode? You know, when we'll actually get to start testing this functionality? Do you know when they have a targeted, you know, we have a dates here for when we have to do stuff. Is there like a, yep, by the end of sprint 1 we'll know when this stuff will be designed, or by end of December or something?
What do you mean if it's going to be designed?
Sorry, when I mean design, I mean actually starting the coding and when it'll be available for someone here to actually test hands-on.
Well, I think it's after Sprint 2, isn't it?
What I'm saying is we don't know, we haven't been told. If it's possible for you to say, yep, we're expecting this.
Well, I guess talk with Chris and Tammy about the schedule. I think it's after Sprint 2.
Okay. I will ask them.
You're just talking about in general, right? Not just this, not reports.
No. Yeah, I don't care. I'm just talking all the stuff that we're designing outside of the reports. So the changes to the building equipment record, to the log, all the
It's February.
Oh, so you're expecting all this to be in February for the pilot in the conference room pilot?
Anything that's 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
Fit gap wise.
So I'm guessing that, so the changes to the building equipment form, adding the fields are kind of in that 1, 2, 3 range?
Yep.
But the logic of populating them. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And then just so we have an idea of when to start being ready, when do you guys kind of wrap up on creating the templates that this data will be for us to start having to populate for, like, the meter site records?
I don't know the schedule on it, what David's got going. Question for David or Chris?
We'll ask the PMO group. Thanks.
Yeah.
So we can provide you this later when you want to. We have this report already.
We do. Yep.
So can we just send a PDF and put it in that report file area?
I think we've got a couple there.
Okay.
I'm not sure everything is there, but.
All right. So we'll make sure that this is one of the reports available to the reporting group, wherever they're holding all their copies of stuff.
Okay.
Consolidate and compare the data. This
I would just
isn't an existing report.
Before you comparison? Isn't that just?
we'll just figure out all the reports that we need.
Oh, amplified.
I'm going to guess that eventually we'll write it.
Right.
Especially since we like 20.
This shouldn't even be a requirement,
Billing the accumulated
right?
Yeah, this is not needed.
Right.
I said that on 9/12 when we talked about it, not needed. Did we get percentage line loss field on the building equipment form?
We don't want percentage line loss as a field.
This is all not needed.
This entire requirement is just going to come down to a very simple custom field that,
Custom report.
custom report, sorry, that compares production
Right, you got it right
And
there.
versus
Custom report to
sales.
them to provide information on that.
Yeah.
So everything you have here is correct.
All right, so we're not doing this.
We're not needed the original requirement. We're handling it by the stuff that you have written below.
Right.
Okay.
Yep, so it's going to be a custom report that does that.
That honestly I can write in BI.
Okay.
If you have the information in BI to write it.
We haven't gotten
Well,
interlinky thing yet working.
I mean, it might not be there right away. That's the only reason I'm saying that.
Yeah. Gabe told me something yesterday about how we'll still be able to use BI for, reporting.
He will be able to.
Well, we will, but we have to map the new data. Right. And believe me, that took a lot of time. Were you here when we did BI?
I was not, or there would be
And
fields in BI that aren't there now.
I was here,
You
and they didn't want, no, they
You
didn't,
helped some.
very little. They kind of
Okay.
went and did billing, and they mapped it, Rudy, and
Really?
whatever mapped the utility billing universe all by himself, which is why we have some of the problems we haven't been able to fix. I helped with the crystal.
All right, well, let's,
I'm just saying, don't blame, we can rewrite the universe to be the way you want your universe to be.
Yeah. And honestly, I'd almost rather create a new universe that reports directly on the migrated data and the migrated data only, instead of trying to map to historic, because
That's
that
right.
way it's all cleaned up and
I agree.
but I
consistent.
think that's probably what we
I'm assuming that's what we would do because it seems logical, but sometimes what I think is logical isn't, isn't what other people think is or something.
I don't think I,
Huh?
Generate and distribute reports.
Yeah, I'm working on that.
Okay, so those will also be in that report list.
Yep,
For the
I'm working on
reporting
that.
Okay.
Starting at 11:30, I think it smells like food makes me hungry.
What was that other one? It was 55.
oh, great.
I don't know what it is.
So that's a specific one, this is a general list. Was there another one that was kind of like a general list?
Don't know.
No, okay. All right, let me see, it's this one. 771.
Again, that's gonna be a.
Yeah, that's reporting, I don't know if that's reporting.
Yep.
So create a virtual meter. It's because we've gotten rid of that concept of that
Yeah.
virtual meter. That's gone. We don't have a virtual meter anymore. This is based on that custom report
right.
from 2 requirements prior.
But
This
it's
is a
something you
function.
would define as 761, right? I mean, in your list of custom reports.
Yeah,
I think
it
it was
would
that
be
one.
in our list of custom reports, yes.
Yeah, so we'll tie this one back and say it's gonna be handled in this. Okay?
Yep.
Look, he's got a tie.
I would be like this all the time on his head. All right.
Hmm?
I don't have the ability to have a pen like that during a meeting, because I would click and play with it constantly to drive everybody nuts. My pen, I play with this part, so this is a new pen, so give it about a week, and this part will be broken off, because I just sit there and do this constantly. I don't know why.
Do you need a fidget spinner?
I think I do need a fidget spinner. I need to just take one of my kids' fidget spinners. I do the same, that's what the wedding ring is for. You just sit and.
780. Validate and update initial configuration.
Oh, that's the report. This is the one we talked about yesterday and moved here because it's really a report. This is taking a look at the new report we're writing for the state snapshot and comparing all of that to the billing you have on there. Now, we'll have to have 2 now. One that validates the usage percentages and the other one validates billing.
So is this one that you would define in that main
So I'll fill you in a minute.
761?
You can put it in the general one, that's fine. but this, yeah. And so like this one, I think when we had this, it switched from validate and update initial configuration to now it's just gonna be a report to tell us where we're gonna have to update initial configuration stuff. The goal eventually is to automate this. We have to run the report.
Just like we do now with your magic.
My magic
Your
report,
magic
except for the
report.
fact that you don't have to go manually do it until you're validated.
Right.
And then 799, it seems like, do we move this one down too? Pair steam and condensate meters with the same meter group as a percentage.
Yeah, so this is again, it's a report that will compare meters in the same meter group.
So similar, it's going to be handled in that list that you give us for the 761.
Yep.
Yep.
All right.
Maybe that's one we should put on the prototype list.
Yeah, great.
All right. So, anything else on your list?
I think we're good for now. I would guess once you, add all those field updates from the mapping, and, we're gonna do is we're gonna be meeting today to finalize which fields will be audited, and then at that point, what I'll do is I will take a copy of that document, put it as a, here's the information, and send you a link to kind of like a final version for this discussion, so that anytime I make changes, we can do a compare and figure out what we need to communicate over. Because for us, it's a live document, which you probably don't want for your people that are using it to, don't want it continually changing while they access. So as soon as we have that finalized on the audit field, we'll send you an email with the link, and then we'll put it in a, separate folder, lock it down, make it not editable. Does that sound all right?
Yeah.
And we'll make sure we get that to you at the very latest tomorrow. Are we done? Do you have any other questions for us, Todd?
It's what? I'm sorry?
Do you have any other questions for us?
No.
Do you guys have? Nope. Nope. Okay. All right. So we'll make those updates to that logic sheet that we showed you and re-upload. And then as soon as I upload, I'll send you that link right away so you have it. And I guess we'll talk to you at 2:30.
Yes.
Wonderful. So at this exact moment, is there anything else on this that we need to do, or are we good to go, and do we need to meet tomorrow?
No, I think we rolled everything down.
Good. I think we're good.
Yeah.
All right.
Whoever set that meeting up can cancel tomorrow mornings.
That will be, I will figure out, I believe it's probably Chris or Lee, and I'll ask them to cancel the meeting.
I mean, unless something pops up in this meeting this afternoon.
I will wait until after this I'll wait until after the meeting
Yeah.
Actually, during the meeting, I'll let them know they can cancel it if everything goes well. That's
Okay.
probably a really good idea. Smart.
Okay.
All right, well, enjoy your extended lunch. And yes, lunch break is from like 11 to 2:30 on the, which is cool. And we'll talk to you at 2:30. No, 3:30? 2:30.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good. Thanks for all your help.
Thank you.
Wait,
Bye-bye.
oh, by the way, we got down to, there'll be 18 requirements out there that are either proposed or on hold. So some of the on hold ones even, if we take that out, we're down to 15 requirements
Wonderful. So
that
as
we'll
soon
be
as
putting
you-
tasks to.
Okay, so as soon as you, put in all the mapping criteria, all the new fields and whatever in, and you put in whatever logic or stuff you need to do for the, the consumption log logic we went through this morning,
Yeah.
then just send us a copy of the Spira team and we can review it.
Yeah. It'll look just kind of like this one if I pull this up real quick. Which one was the main one on the, well, I can probably go to task. Hold on one second. Like this building,
Mm-hmm.
let me open it up bigger. So, essentially like this, business object, Chariga tab section, the field label, and any comments such as, not required, no default.
Okay.
And here's a new form section. This is an example, of a table structure that I used for the space and the building. I'm just pulling it up because it'll look similar to the fields that we add to the log and the equipment, the building equipment record form.
So what you're going to send us is similar to what you sent us in space? That same thing, because I know we went through and reviewed and took a look at that. I know we still have to finish off that, but it's the same report.
Yeah, it's the same. This is what I'm giving to the development team
Okay.
to put those fields in. And they generally, I don't tell them what to call the field in Chariga. They'll make up their name.
Okay. Yeah, I think most of them, I think there's a couple we left, but I think most of them we gave them a label. So.
Yeah, exactly.
They can call it whatever they want in Chariga. They usually try to associate that to a label, but we just want to see what we see on the form and the reports. Okay. I think we're good.
All right, sounds good.
Great. Thanks.
Bye.